Hello world, my name is Max Stein and I love video games.
I'm the Megabuck. I really love video games.
My name is Raph, and I also love video games.
And welcome to the Game Treasure Podcast, where we discuss treasured video games of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Today's episode, we've been playing so much Marvel Rivals that we were just like, let's just do a genre study on hero shooters. That's interesting enough, right?
Yep.
Absolutely,
There's been
yeah.
enough of
Hell
them. I think we've played enough of them that we have some concise opinions. And let's just talk about the genre in which this very, very, very hot game takes place. But before we get into that, as usual, Buck, will you and RetroGameTreasure.com please take us back in time with this week's Retro Zone?
Let's go back in time.
Can you make that sound really cute? Because it goes with the game. It's fun.
All right, I'll try.
Kawaii.
Kawaii.
Yeah.
I decided to go to a portable game today in a really fun franchise that Sega ignores, but that's okay because we have these to go back. I'm talking about the official, unofficial first Sega mascot, the Opa Opa in Fantasy Zone.
Oh,
For the Game
What?
Gear.
What is this?
Fantasy
For the
Zone.
Sega Game Gear.
The Game Gear. It was an arcade game originally by Sega in '86, and then they ported it to the Master System and Fantasy Zone as well. It's very similar to like Twinbee, if you've ever seen those. It's a cute 'em up, aka a shoot 'em up that's cute, and
Right.
not aliens or
Ooh,
sci-fi or anything fun.
this
Notably,
is cute.
Notably different in Fantasy Zone, you could change directions. You were more like it was more like Defender, where you had like a wraparound kind of world. You could move left and right in these
Oh.
games. So it was
I
a little.
see.
It wasn't a push kind of shoot 'em up.
You're saying this was the first unofficial mascot of
The Opa Opa, this cute little dude right
Uh-huh.
here, the little pod thing, is referred to as Sega's first mascot. It was like the first recurring kind of character they put on a lot of stuff when they
Huh.
were especially arcades and just Master System, 1 and 2 kind of company before Sonic existed.
So you guys carry this at RetroGameTreasure.com. What sort of preferences would
absolutely.
someone have to select in order to get a copy of
So
Zone?
Fantasy Zone is a shoot 'em up. So you definitely have to have the shoot 'em up category selected, and of course, Game Gear is one of your consoles, one of the 20 plus consoles that we carry. We also have bonus questions at the bottom. We ask things like, "Are you okay with imports? Are you okay with M for mature games? Do you have a light gun? Stuff like that." And one of those is, "Are you E for everyone games?" Kind of the games that are in the middle. It's not necessarily a hard setting. It's more of like a guideline for us. Like, okay, they like something that's in the middle. If you're talking about shoot 'em ups, you go the sci-fi route to like Gradius, or you
Right.
go to like the mature kind of gross route like Abadox or something like that. And these are kind of like the weird in between games, the cute 'em ups. And we didn't get a ton of these on consoles. There's a lot of arcade ones, but we didn't get a ton on home consoles. So it kind of, you can also just add it to your wish list too. It's a great wish list game.
Cool.
Nice. Well, Fantasy Zone for the Sega Game Gear was today's Retro Zone. Unfortunately, I've never played it, and I'm not a
Oh.
huge fan of the shoot 'em ups, mostly because I suck at them.
Same here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same here.
Buck was really good
Fun.
at them growing up. I'm sure he still is. I'm sure he didn't lose the
Yeah.
capacity, but
It's
I'm
like riding a
slowly
bike,
losing
right?
the capacity.
Hey, it's like riding a bike, isn't it?
all right. Well, hey, that was an excellent Retro Zone. Let's go ahead and take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll get into the meat of our episode: this hero shooter genre. Be right back. Hello, heroes. We're back. We're back, and we're here to discuss hero shooters. So let's get about let's first, as we do in these genre studies, let's talk about like what defines a hero shooter. Maybe delve into the history of shooters, if you will, hero shooters. We haven't done like our genre study into just first person shooters, but
goodness, we
let's just
haven't,
go
have
ahead
we?
and skip all the way ahead. And the only like genre of shooter that I really need to touch beforehand before going into hero shooters is tactical shooters.
Okay.
So Counter-Strike, the granddaddy of first person shooters, team based, tactics, right? So it's not just like you're on a map, you have infinite spawns, just kill, kill, kill,
Mhm.
kill, kill. It's
Onto a
really more
tournament.
about knowing where to be. Like you can get out of place. You can, you have to work together as a team. But obviously in Counter-Strike, you all just play as the same guys pretty much. It's all up to what guns you buy. And
Right.
in that essence, it feels more like a normal first-person shooter, if you will. But yeah, definitely strategy games or strategy shooters, if you will, were the backbone to Team Fortress.
Mm.
From everything that I have gleaned, Team Fortress is really one of the first examples where you're playing a team-based shooters. That and the Battlefield 1942, which has like its classes. But the
Mhm.
classes not quite the same
Right.
as like the characters, if you will.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So the defining features, I would say, of the hero shooter genre, and gentlemen, when I'm done, feel free to add or subtract. They need to be team based.
Right.
You cannot have a hero shooter that is a free for all because of the dynamic of the like second characteristic, which is you have unique characters with unique abilities. That might be two separate characteristics, if you will. But yeah, and so the strengths and weaknesses of the characters' abilities and powers make it to where the idea of having a free for all hero shooter is impossible, right? Cannot be done.
Right.
Anything else you would like to add? Did you, in anything?
I mean, you just explained why Overwatch's PvE mode failed, but yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
funny.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, overall, I would like to get your gauge on what you think about hero shooters. Do you like them? Do you prefer regular shooters? Are they not different enough? My opinion, right off the bat, would be I think I've expressed in the podcast before that am not good at shooters. And so in order to play them, there needs to be some other layer of dynamic for me to participate. And
Fair.
so hero shooters give me that because
Yeah.
the idea of playing a role is a little bit easier for me to do than the idea of like, go kill. Sometimes I like to be the guy that goes and kills. But usually I will do that by preying on the people who cannot defend themselves, like the healers or whatever.
Shoot this guy. Shoot
Yeah,
this
he's
guy.
weak.
Yes.
Raph, how about yourself? What's your opinions on hero shooters?
I do actually enjoy shooters for the most part, like other shooters too. I mostly play like tactical shooters, I suppose, or kind of like some of the like lately I've been playing a lot of extraction shooters, but this is my first real like hardcore experience with. Well, okay, I'm gonna go way back in the day, but I used to play a lot of Team Fortress 2. Actually, I still have
Everybody
my
did.
copy of the orange box right here.
Nice.
This is what I used to
Nice,
play it on the
dude.
PS3. By the way, back when the PS3 still had that Spider-Man 3 font, which you can barely
Yeah.
see right there.
So gross.
Yeah, it's
tell
gnarly.
me me about it when you have a whole bunch of huge game collection
Yeah.
and they're all lined up and you get like a twitch.
Yeah, you got a mix of all the weird ones. Yeah, but yeah, Team Fortress 2 is my OG hero shooter, and then obviously playing a lot of Marvel Rivals. It's not a genre that I actually have a lot of experience in, but I do like it because I like to play. When I play tactical shooters and I play like war sims and stuff like that, I kind of like being like a medic. I like running around and like picking up players that have been dropped, just like healing them or whatever. So like Overwatch 2, I played just a little bit of that. I used to play Mercy. With Marvel Rivals, I kind of dig playing some of the healers, but weirdly enough with that, I kind of break the mold and I like to play DPS a lot. But yeah, dude, honestly, hero shooters are kind of becoming a genre that I'm really digging lately, especially since you guys got me into Marvel Rivals.
So pretty similar opinion, Buck. Are you of the
Yeah.
same persuasion, would you say?
I mean, it brings up a good point of like, I was glad you defined it because
Mhm.
what is a hero shooter? What makes it a
Right.
hero shooter? Because when the heroes have different classes and abilities, there's now there's a big berth for that to be, different types of games.
Right.
Apex Legends
Mm.
is considered by a lot to be a hero shooter because of all the different hero classes, but it's a
Mhm.
battle royale game. Even though it's team based, but it's battle royale team based.
Yeah.
game, right? There's other games that came along based on some earlier ones, actually. I don't know if you guys ever played on Steam or on Xbox Live, but Monday Night Combat comes to mind for me.
No, never heard of that.
No,
one.
you mentioned this before, and now that
Did,
you're
yeah.
saying it again, I'm going to have
So-
to see what you're talking about here.
so-
You said Monday Night Combat?
Monday Night Combat was so the spoof. The idea was like a Smash TV / Monday Night Football kind of thing. It's got an announcer. It's in like arenas with like lights on the. It almost has an American Gladiators feel to it. That's the words I was looking for.
Okay.
But it plays like it plays like a hero shooter. It plays almost like a poor man's Team Fortress. There's only like 5 or 6
That's what
classes,
it reminds me of. Yeah.
and there's a mixture of wave clearing / defense, tower defense, and the heroes having to do the work themselves. And you're trying to push a certain amount of minions, if I remember correctly, because it's been like over a decade since I played this on Xbox Live. There's a certain amount of minions you need to push through to your opponent's side to win the matches. And it's very much got the, Smash TV, good luck,
Yeah.
you'll need it, kind of.
So what is your opinion on the genre?
So,
That didn't really answer my
well,
question.
sorry, I had to start
Oh,
with the
sorry.
games that I played that are also
Right,
other
yeah,
hero
makes sense,
shooters, and
makes
there's
sense.
failed
Well, because we'll
ones.
get into that after
Gotcha,
we do
gotcha.
some more explaining of the.
So
But that's fine.
So overall, though, if it's that broad, then I've enjoyed many, hero shooters, not just Overwatch being, the hero shooter, air quotes.
Okay, so you was more than regular shooters. You prefer the powers. You don't. Okay, so
it's the
yes.
team aspect. I really enjoy the team aspect
right.
more than anything else.
I think that's what it ultimately comes down to too. Like I was saying, it's like, other than these hero shooters, I like tactical shooters, and I like playing as a team and having to work together to like accomplish a common goal. That's
not just work
yeah.
together because these two guys are a better shot than us, so please
Right.
carry me, senpai. Like,
Right.
I'm
yeah,
the
yeah,
healer.
yeah.
You need me, even though you're a better shot and you're going to
It's-
kill the people.
The reason
Yeah.
I don't like games like Call of Duty and stuff like that, because it's the fucking chaos,
So the history, to get into more granular detail. So historically speaking, the first time that the word hero shooter was used in a press release, anyone want to guess?
Mm,
Yeah, I don't know.
related to Overwatch, I don't know. I'm gonna guess there. Yeah.
Maybe.
In
yeah.
2014, Battleborn was in fact the first game to call itself a hero shooter in a press release. So if you lived through 2014 and you were a sentient gamer, Battleborn and Overwatch came out very close to one another.
Huh.
And
The one that failed
very
coined the term.
quickly, yeah,
Hmm.
Battleborn became subject to the Mom, I want Overwatch. We have Overwatch at home, and then it's Battleborn. Like,
I'm gonna call him out, but our friend Jensen absolutely fell in love with that game, so we all had to get it because of him. Like 3 weeks later, when there were like 200 people playing it.
so ironically enough, this game that sort of is now lost to time. A game made by the same developers that made Borderlands.
Yeah,
Gearbox.
Oh, yeah,
This is
yeah.
theoretically
Gearbox.
should have been a good game, right? And then here comes shitty ass Blizzard
Mhm.
a couple months later with the release of Overwatch, and no one
Yeah,
considers
Blizzard.
Battleborn
Get back to
feasible anymore.
Diablos, Blizzard.
But when that happened, when Overwatch comes out, I mean, it destroys. It's like we did the episode where we were talking about PUBG and battle royales.
Mhm.
Overwatch
Mhm.
does the same thing. So it's if you look it up, it gets basically all 10 out of 10s, if not 9 out of 10s from every rating review website. It becomes an instant smash hit, like the most downloaded game. Blizzard gets everyone's emails and they skyrocket to the top of everything and make a bunch of money. And as we discussed in the Battle Royale episode, whenever you do something that makes you a bunch of money, everyone will begin copying you.
Yeah, of course.
So Overwatch, we can get into this now because it's going to be the one that I'm probably going to want to talk about the most. I really liked Overwatch when it came out, guys. I
Mm.
know that the state that it's in, like with Overwatch 2 and by
Sure.
the end of Overwatch, was so bad, but just want to reminisce on. Do you remember? I mean, Raph, you didn't really play, but Buck, certainly you remember this time.
I am pretty sure I would have worn it today, but I'm pretty sure I threw it away. We had a Florida team, so I was a Florida Mayhem fan right off the
That's
get-go.
right.
I had the jersey, we had the shirts, we had a group in Orlando. Somebody else started it, but it was called like the the Mayhem Crew or the something like that, and they would have meetups in around Orlando to watch Overwatch matches. Me and Mr. Venegor went to more than one at a local burger joint. There were like 60 people there to watch Overwatch and drink
Damn.
beer and stuff. I was like, yeah, I was like, I could get into this. This
I'm
was
not
cool.
kidding when I say it swept the esports nation.
It
Like
really
people
did.
were taking it so seriously. Meanwhile, you're playing as a character that's like a giant gorilla with a taser or whatever. But everyone loved it. It was so good. And they weren't wrong. It's. I mean, like I said, Marvel Rivals has sort of the game we're playing a lot now has inserted itself right. I had a hole in my heart, and it was Overwatch shaped. And I didn't know that. And then Marvel Rivals came out, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot I
filled
liked
that
this
gap.
genre
It's more
of
like-
shooter a
But you
lot
wanted
when
to
they're good."
recapture the original kind of feeling of it, not like what Overwatch became, where it's like, well, now we're going to roll lock because we can't find ways to balance the game, and now we're
Right.
going to do this because we
We
can't
want to
find
please
ways to-"
everybody.
Well, they
Mhm.
couldn't find ways to balance the game, and like we talked about with Rivals, by characters having multiple. Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman just came out today with the season 1,
Mhm.
and
What?
Invisible Woman has like
Yeah.
7 abilities. It's like
Hell yeah.
she's a healer if that's how she's got to support by
Yeah.
having a shield and a this and a that, and it's like that's just how they got to do it. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
And let's go back. I didn't mean to skip over, but Team Fortresses 1 and 2. I haven't played these at all. I think
No,
Team
okay.
Fortress 2 is probably, obviously being that it came later, it's a little bit closer to this hero genre.
Well, it was a baby darling of
Yeah.
everybody that even
Right.
touched Steam for a decade. It still is. There's still a
yeah.
player. I bet if you check the player count and pop it up on screen right now, you will be surprised how many people still play Team Fortress 2.
Oh, it's still pretty popular, yeah. Dude, Team Fortress 2 was a banger of a game, though. I had a lot of fun with it. Honestly, like, it has a little bit more in common with games maybe like Counter-Strike or like other shooters. But yeah, obviously you had all these really memorable characters. Like, I used to play the Heavy in that game, and I loved that goofy ass motherfucker to the point where all of the games
memes.
yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
It's incredibly memeable. All of the characters the games that we talked about a second ago, almost all of them have a Heavy analog that looks like the dude that is the Heavy. It's really funny.
Do they have powers in Team Fortress 2? Do you have powers?
You
Or
have
is it
different
just some
abilities.
loadouts.
Got abilities, sure.
You have
Yeah.
abilities.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought
Everybody
so.
has different abilities. The spy was pretty cool. You I think you would like become invisible, right? Or you can like disguise yourself as one of the
could
characters.
disguise yourself
That's what it
as
was,
players.
yeah.
So it was always the best when you'd be playing, and all of a sudden you'd look back, and there's 2 healers.
And you're like, wait a minute, what the fuck?
And
It's
you
kinda
know
cool
one
as
of them's
fuck.
fake then when you realize that, but what do you do?
Can you do
about it?
damage to your own team?
No.
No,
I
right?
don't
Okay, yeah.
remember.
So you
Yeah,
just have
it's
to
been such a
figure
long
out.
time.
But
which
they
one
may
it
have
is.
already
That's
killed your
still
healer
cool.
by the time you realize it.
Right,
Yeah. Just a true blind spot for me in gaming that is just like a glaring flaw. Just never played either Team Fortress for whatever reason.
Not a lot
I
of
don't know.
people played the first one. I'll be honest. I mean, it has its fans, but
yeah.
Team Fortress 2 was the one that really like established that entire franchise. I mean, there's only 2 games in the franchise, but yeah, that's the one
Orange
that
Box,
everybody
man.
really played. Yeah, man,
Yeah.
Orange Box. This
Orange
thing
Box.
is a banger right here. Every game on here is good.
Is that like Capture the Flag or King of the Hill? Like, are there multiple game modes in Team Fortress? And
Yeah. There's I
okay.
think there's like 2. There's a like kind of like a Capture the Flag, and there's like a King of the Hill kind of
Okay.
game.
I
mode, but it's
bring
been
it
a
up
long time
because-
since
Yeah,
I
that's
played
they
it,
would
yeah.
do seasonal modes as well
Over-
too. They had a bunch of modes actually in that game.
Overwatch also has like it's got a King of the Hill. It's got this push the payload
Yep.
game
from-
mode. But
That's from Team Fortress.
Battleborn, which we sort of glazed over, this one was closer to like a MOBA, right? Is Buck? You played this
That's
a
what it kinda
decent
looks like.
amount.
Yeah, Battleborn was more like Monday Night Combat. It was a MOBA. You had lanes, and so you definitely that's where it was centered around. It was centered around defending lanes or pushing lanes, which is funny because Valve has in beta. You guys played with us, I think, before that Deadlock game, which is
yeah.
very much so like Battleborn.
Ooh,
Monday
that's
Night
a good
Combat.
point.
It's
Yeah.
a wave. It's a MOBA at its core, but it's really a hero shooter and a MOBA having a baby, right?
That is so interesting. Yeah, they're clear. It's
Well, the 2
it's
genres
like-
have a lot of overlap. I
right.
feel like, yeah.
Hero
Yeah.
shooters, yes. It seems they can sort of attach themselves like to other things, like you said before. Like they can attach themselves to Apex Legends, which
Right.
is a battle royale, or they can attach themselves to a MOBA, which like you said, you're playing as a character with abilities. That usually the difference in a MOBA is that the perspective is almost always top down, but this one is just because being of tradition of that Warcraft mod from back in the day.
I think the crossover was created by Smite because they turned it
Oh,
into a
yes,
third-person
Smite.
over-the-shoulder MOBA, which plays more like a shooter which evolved into the hero shooters, but then they removed the lanes from most of those games and just made them, have some other type of goal in mind.
I know
I
this was
forgot that I played.
10
I'm sorry, I
years
used to play that game
ago,
a
but do
lot.
you have any memories of playing it, how it was, like
Smite?
flaws
Battleborn?
with it? Battleborn, yeah.
Okay.
I remember there was a no. I don't remember any. The characters were not very memorable. I mean, no.
The gameplay, like,
It was.
you've got. I know
It
you
was.
said you've got lanes. Was there towers? Like, I don't know. How did it
I think you had a
play?
buffed up a mob, if I'm not mistaken. Like not necessarily a tower, but like a larger robot as such. Which is funny because Deadlock does the same thing, kind of, sort of.
Right, having the big mobs.
Something along those lines, and you push units into it. And I think there were some people that could empower some of the units in the lanes as well as they were pushing them. So some people's ability was that they could buff up the minions in the waves, so to speak. I think they just stole a lot of ideas from like League of Legends and Dota, if I'm not mistaken. But we're trying to do the same thing as Smite and turned it into like a third person kind of thing. And Smite, I'm pretty sure, was already out by then.
Well, that Overwatch format seemed to prevail in that situation. Another one I wanted to talk about, one that I don't have a lot of experience with, but it's worth mentioning, is Valorant. That is a game that I have never played it either.
Valorant,
Because
if Counter-Strike was a hero shooter.
I was just about to say it leans very heavily into the tactical shooter genre. But again, you have characters, not classes, and then the characters have moves, and so they're heroes. So this is a hero shooter, in my opinion.
Very interesting that a lot of these games are free to play. I don't know, like for some reason this genre just lends itself well to the free to play model. I guess it's all the microtransactions, right?
Yeah.
Like
it might have been a timing thing. I really think that might be an Overwatch made itself free, and then when they made money off microtransactions, everyone was just like, "That's the model."
Right.
No one was like, "Should we actually try to make a game that's not completely busted and then have people pay for it?" And they're like, "No, you're an idiot."
When a game has a price on it, God forbid, but that's a barrier to entry, right? Your friend gets it, and they say to their friends, "Hey, get this game with me," and they all have to decide whether they're going to spend their money or not. Again, I'm calling you out on Battleborn there. Short bus.
This is why I did not pick up Overwatch. Actually, all my friends wanted me to play Overwatch
when they bought it, right?
Initially,
and so I think they all came to the conclusion that if we make enough in-game stuff that's worth purchasing, if they like the game, if there's more people playing it because it's free, that infinite more possibility for microtransaction money over a purchase that just includes stuff.
Well, I have not played Valorant, but it's notable because it's real hot on the esports scene. Honestly, people Counter-Strike 2 or whatever just came out last year or the year before that, or I don't know, not that long ago. But it's just it's like Counter-Strike, but more exciting. It's got nicer, stylish like looks. Like everyone's got like a kind of quasi-anime style. You got people with cool powers where they can like shoot a crow that makes the entire arena black, as opposed to just like being a guy who throws a smoke grenade.
Cool.
I don't know. If Counter-Strike is impenetrable to me, so I would always prefer to do anything else. But Valorant is the same thing in the sense where I'm like, I'm not going to jump on this game because I know I will get destroyed the moment I jump on.
Those games are based on your they're more like football or basketball, where your spatial awareness is how you win the game. Whereas in a hero shooter, it's how do you gel with your team and how do you react to what's going on?
Yeah, because, it's like the roles aren't varied enough. In Valorant, you're still all guys with guns, so you've got to like obey the laws of like, don't peek. And then they just, get killed. It's also the tactical shooter in the sense that I think a lot of the game modes are those you have one life and that's it for the round, so to speak. Whereas Overwatch, it's, you're going as a team, you got respawns, and so you're going towards an effort. But
like the analog of like soccer versus rugby. Like rugby's more of a team. You have to work together as a team, as opposed to like soccer, where like one or two big heavy hitters can kind of carry the game.
Oh yeah, sure. I know about soccer and how it works. That analog sounds like it makes.
Okay, fine. Football then. Football.
I know.
I watch a lot of Blue Lock. Does that count?
Yeah,
I gotta watch that show.
Yeah.
So Buck already covered that very interesting game for the Xbox 360. Me and Raph played a game that came out in November of last year. It is developed and published by a company called I Dream Sky, and it's called Stranova. And
I got thoughts on it, man. I got thoughts.
yeah, my first note is
Yeah.
not the worst.
No, it really
Not the worst
wasn't. Yeah.
game.
If they could
Not
get
the
licensed
best.
anime characters, I bet it'd be cool.
I'm gonna give you the elevator pitch that's supposed to make you
Yeah.
go ooh. It's a tactical hero shooter where you play as anime characters who can all become two-dimensional.
Yeah.
You can press left control on your keyboard and you become
What?
completely flat.
Yeah.
Paper Mario?
And
What?
then you can
Yeah.
you can go through like little tiny cracks in the level if you figure out where all the cracks and all the different levels are. You can double jump and then become flat and like glide. And you can hit areas of levels that like make you fly up. So it's got interesting mobility. You can also just straight up link between worlds, like become flat on certain surfaces and just
Yeah.
like and like walk up them, just like defy gravity to. So highly mobile, double shooting, gliding, getting everywhere you want. And it's I don't, Raph, we like started playing and he's like, I'm gonna fucking
Yeah.
delete this shit as soon as we're
uninstalling this.
done.
Yeah,
And then we got like 3 rounds and we were like, actually it's not.
I'm actually
it's
having
not. So,
fun. Yeah,
that's
dude.
fun.
No, honest to God, like the novelty of the 2D really carries the game in a lot of ways. But it actually also has surprisingly good gunplay. Like the guns sound good, they feel good to shoot. It's a little obtuse, I guess, and it's like it doesn't provide you with a lot of information on how to actually do stuff. It's weird.
That was it suffers from Chinese freeware like menu nightmare hell.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel
It's
you
like
there.
that Pokemon MOBA or any free to play game on your cell phone where it's just like there's like a hub screen that you go to that just has an anime girl on it that literally is just like, why don't you go buy some stuff?
Yeah. No. Okay.
You
so
haven't
my-
bought some things
what's
in a
that
while.
mobile game?
Ooh. Like
My
it's
notes-
like,
DK or whatever that mobile game is that they push so freaking hard. That's hilarious.
Dude, so my notes on this game, the very last note I have is like, I just wish that little anime girl in the menu would stop asking me for my birthday, credit card number, and social security number, please.
It's true. It's right. Yeah.
As soon as we stopped playing, I like got back to the menu and she was like, "So what's your birthday? I really
Yeah.
want to know because I want to be there for you." And I'm like, "Sure, that's why."
Yeah. It was.
Yeah. You're not
Before
trying to
you
get
even
my
start the-
password.
Before
That
you
is
start the
magical.
game, it's like, where do you live? And what is your phone number? And what is your email address? And what is your favorite color? And it was just like, China.
What's your dad smell like?
It's so
What's your
bad.
dad's email?
Yeah.
So it's when you get past the menus and you just get in the game, right? So let's ignore the fact that there's 3 different types of currencies that you earn and there's a million seasonal things going on at once and there's a bunch of ways to get skins and none of it is comprehensible in any way to me. When you finally get in the game, as Raph said, the guns sound good. The 2D becoming flat thing is both funny and kind of like fun because like when you're getting shot at, you like the play is to become flat,
Yeah.
like and then turn sideways because you become extremely hard to hit. It's an interesting dynamic.
Funny.
I was able to take
there-
cover behind things that I normally wouldn't be unless I just went
Because
flat.
you're a piece
Yeah.
of paper.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
There are no
So
when you're gonna reload, absolutely become flat against a wall. When you're
okay.
there's multiple types of game modes, which is kind of cool. So like I said, it does lean a little bit more into the tactical shooter mode. There is a bomb plant gameplay mode, which is explained in the storyline in the beginning, like with these cutscenes that play when you start it up, which are like altogether there's like 15 minutes of cutscenes you can watch. Raph skipped it. I watched it because it was actually pretty cool. It was highly produced and looked good, but I had no idea what's going on. Something about like one side of you are terrorists and the other ones aren't, and you're trying to blow up a time bomb or something. I don't know.
You're all big titty anime girls. I don't know. It's
You're mostly
funny.
big titty anime girls, but you do like there's a bomb planting mode. There's a big arena battle mode where it's just like a free for all. There's a 5v5 team deathmatch, and then there's like a 3v3 team deathmatch. And in those deathmatch ones, it's like a one life and you're done type deal, like Counter-Strike.
This game
So that was
looked
cool.
good, honestly. Like
It
I was
does.
surprised as like how.
You know
like,
what though?
pretty
Let's
it
talk
was,
about
yeah.
this. Every time we play these I feel so bad but like these Chinese shovelware games, like these Hoyoverse games, this game, all these things. The anime art style is just like,
It's off.
is this AI?
Yeah.
Did you do this with AI? Because a
looks
lot of this
weird,
feels the same. You know what I mean? There's a lot of but it's a weird tightrope to walk where it's just like it looks good, but I'm getting some weird uncanny valley vibes
Yes,
from
that's
like
a good word for
the
it.
styling of it. I don't know. We kind of talked about it when we were playing the game. It was like it looks both good and generic as fuck.
Right.
But there's no classes. There's just like the heroes. All the heroes have different guns, like in Valorant, I presume. But like some of the modes of gameplay like don't let you use your powers. So like the plant the bomb mode, which is 5v5, everyone's got full access to all their powers. But then when you do like the deathmatch mode, like you don't have your 2 active powers, you only have your character's passive power. So I don't know, it was a weird, interesting way to do it. It made me go like, oh, this is different than Overwatch and Marvel Rivals. I liked the bomb planting mode, honestly. We did a couple runs where Raph was able to successfully plant the mode, and I found this character who basically has like a heavy machine gun that pops up a shield, like that character from oh god, we said it earlier, the Battle Royale hero shooter. Apex Legends. Apex Legends has that character that has the big gun that pops a shield up, and this chick has that, and then she has like the ability to like drop down a huge turret that you can like sit there and fuck people up with. That's cool. I got MVP with her like 3 matches in a row, so I was having fun.
Cool. I was having a good time with it. Honestly, it's fun.
Yeah,
and it's free.
Yeah. So let's see. Oh, I did want to mention too, much like Counter-Strike, because this is actually kind of cool. There's buffers in between the rounds where in which you can enter a store. But instead of buying new guns, like in Counter-Strike, you purchase upgrades by using a currency that you collect when you get kills.
Space
when you kill someone, they drop some space bucks.
Exactly.
And you can pick it up. By the way, when you kill someone, you don't kill them, you down them, like in Fortnite or something, and they can actually be revived by their teammates. Another cool little mechanic that made me go, but in the rounds in between, instead of buying, like I said, new guns, you buy upgrades for your main weapon, like your whoever you have like everyone has like a main weapon and then a handgun of some type. But you buy upgrades for your main weapon, and the upgrades are color/shape coordinated. Like this would be like the offensive upgrades. Follow me here.
Sorry, just had a seizure right. I tried to smell the color 9 right now.
I just mean like these. Like there's the square upgrades. They are also green, and then there's the triangle upgrades. They all are yellow, and then there's the circle upgrades. They all are blue. And down at the bottom of the purchase stuff screen, every character has like 3 potential passive powers that they can get by upgrading their guns with specific combinations of those upgrades. So the chick that I was playing, if you upgrade her gun with 2 yellows, a green, and a blue, you unlock an ability for her to shimmy her turret left and right while she's in it.
Okay.
But then it's like, or I can get 3 blues and a green and unlock this power, which does this and that. And so if you're playing the game right and getting kills and getting space bugs, by the end, you're kind of like leveling up each round in a way until by the end where you're like really beefy and strong. So something that Marvel Rivals doesn't do, something that Overwatch didn't do, that made me go like, oh, that's kind of cool. Actually, I'm like thinking, and every round there's several options for each of those upgrades. So I'm like, all right, I do like the double blue, green, whatever combo. But this time, instead of doing the recoil reducer, I'm going to do the headshot bonus damage one that goes in the same slot as that upgrade. I don't know. It was fun. Like I said, it was enough to make me go like, all right, I won't uninstall it right until my social security number gets robbed. Then I'll take it off.
I'll play it until I get bored with it, honestly. Like it's pretty fun. It's actually kind of fun.
I'm done with you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Andy dropping.
Yeah. So yeah, Strenova. Like Raph said, it's free on Steam. You might have a fun afternoon with it. I know we played a couple rounds and had fun, but it certainly is not going to be eating Marvel Rivals lunch anytime soon.
Absolutely not.
By the way, poor timing on your game.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. You can become flat. That's cool. In this game, I can be Iron Man. So sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dude,
You're-
they
Are we
already
gonna
started
talk
adding-
at all about Marvel Rivals? I mean, we gave it.
We
We've
already
given
did,
it a
we
lot
already
of.
did.
I mean, we
play,
already
but
did.
yeah.
Like Buck said,
But-
Miss Fantastic. What's her name? The Invisible Woman.
Invisible Woman
and
Mr.
Mr. Fantastic. He's a damage dealer. She's a support.
He's a tank.
He's a tank.
Wait, is he?
He's a
Hold on.
tank.
Are you
He
sure?
absorbs bullets and shit. I'm pretty
I
sure
could
he
believe
is.
Hold on,
that. I could
no.
see that.
Oh,
I
I
don't
might be wrong. I thought he was a tank because he absorbs
No, because the
bullets. and
thing
sits
is
up
going to
there.
be a tank, if I'm not
Oh, you're
mistaken.
right.
That makes a lot
You're
of
right.
sense,
That
actually.
Yeah.
makes more sense because man, he like absorbs damage and stuff and does
But his,
things,
I mean,
like-
he does those big, like he does these big shots from across the level,
Yeah.
basically, because he punches people with a stretchy arm like a
Mhm.
sniper rifle.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
It's neat.
I'm so excited.
Because
The
I was
new
looking at
skins,
the.
too.
I only could tell by the logos because I looked at the logos of the character because I was like, oh yeah, he's a duelist. That's the.
DPS.
Which
class,
one is
right.
that? Like, why do they call
Yeah,
them this
exactly
again?
right.
Like,
Just
it's
call
so
it fucking
stupid.
DPS. What's wrong
Yeah,
with you?
for the love of God, everyone just like as a damage dealer, please.
Stop making up your own
Why?
nomenclature.
Yeah. Why does everyone come up with their own nomenclature for this? Just stick with what works. you
which
know?
is
Do they
It's
think-
tried
because
and true.
you
Do they
mentioned
think
battle.
that that's going to be the part where we're like, oh, cool name,
Right,
Oh,
yeah,
said-
yeah.
Defender, Oh.
Battleborn invented the name Hero Shooter.
What?
You
I'm
said,
sorry.
You said Battleborn invented
Yeah.
the name Hero Shooter, and that's the
Yeah.
one that failed. Oops, Overwatch is like yoink.
True.
So
Yeah.
funny. That's so funny. Battleborn called itself a hero shooter, and that's that
It,
game
was, it,
failed.
it invented the genre name, right?
Yep.
That's funny.
I was
No,
gonna
I was gonna say I'm excited to play as Invisible Woman
oh yeah,
because
she looks
I
fun.
have
Yes.
I haven't found a support character that I really like yet.
Have you played Luna Snow? She's awesome.
I haven't, just because
she's
he's
awesome.
very good, and so I'm like, oh, I want to find one that I
very
kind of
good.
like. I like the style. You know, I go for the style first. You know what I mean? So
Iceman.
Yeah.
She's basically Iceman, but can
I
heal.
can't wait till he actually comes into the
They get
game.
like
I'm
those-
sure that
Yeah,
will
give me
happen
more
soon.
X-Men,
Oh my god,
dude.
no.
I'm
I want
so
I
excited
want
for more
Daredevil.
X-Men.
Give me Daredevil.
Oh shit, that would be
that would
awesome.
be so good.
Right.
He'd have like powers that would let you see people like through walls and
My
shit or
number
something.
one request
Ooh.
is when the Netflix shows come out again and they give us Daredevil and
It would be like
Kingpin and shit.
anytime anyone shoots their gun, you can see them through the wall or something. That
shit.
you know
Oh
what I
my
mean?
God, you could do
That
so
would be
much
some
with him.
Daredevil
And
shit.
this is why a game where you don't limit every character to like 3 abilities is better
yeah.
and easier to balance.
And the thing and the thing looks cool.
Yeah.
The thing I
Yeah, it'll be
can't
fun.
wait for it because that's my favorite role to play usually is the tank,
The
and
tank.
so
Mhm.
I'm excited.
Some
for
fun
the thing
tanks.
'cause
Venom getting a buff, yeah.
it's
Um,
clobbering. Oh yeah, the buffs and we just
I would be remiss if I did not mention 2 games. One
Okay,
that I
cool.
absolutely adored that is no longer available because the servers were only live for 14 months, and that is Gundam Evolution.
Oh yeah, thank you for
AKA
reminding me to bring
Gundam
this
Watch.
up.
Yeah.
This was a Gundam game, real Gundam, made by Bandai,
Yeah,
but they made it a pure like hero shooter, like no flying, no zipping around in space. Really, it's pretty much all on the ground. But man, did it have! I mean, it had Gun Tank, it had Gundam Barbatos, it had Wing Zero, it had all really Death Scythe, all these really great Gundams, and it wasn't it was a great game. It just did not snag the player base that it needed for Namco Bandai to keep it alive. Ugh.
That's tragic.
do you
Makes
think
me
that's
sick to
because
my
it's
stomach.
too niche of this? Like it was so good at its IP that people were just like, if I don't like Gundam, I'm just not gonna play it.
You know what's funny about that? They
Hmm.
just announced last week that they're making a Gundam card game and a Gundam miniatures game.
I'm so glad you saw
It's like-
that. Do you
Yeah.
remember? Do you remember making your own Gundam card game when you were in college?
I still have the cards.
That is
I
fantastic.
found them.
That was
I
the
found
very
them,
first
like,
thing
2
I
years
thought of
ago.
when I saw it, and I was like, "Buck did this
I found all
20
the cards.
years ago or
That's
something."
crazy.
No, more longer than that, 22,
Yeah.
23 years ago.
Buck literally printed out his own Magic the Gathering styled card. It was
Yeah.
like, this is the Leo card. You tap him, and he does. He's
It
a
was a more
1/1. You know, what I mean?
simple
This is
battler,
Death
but yeah.
Scythe. He's a flying 6/6 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like,
It was a more simple battler, but it came with the whole system for it. Printed 2 whole decks of cards. It was playable game. It
Yeah.
was fun. It's like the first board game I ever made.
that's
there in
awesome.
that,
That's
too.
so funny.
But so it was a bummer. It died too soon. I think it just couldn't get the player base. It was a really low player base. It was a
Yeah.
great game. There wasn't anything wrong with it. It wasn't like buggy or anything silly like that or imbalanced or not fun to play. It was really got to play as Charles Zaku.
And then the environments were cool. I only played a couple of rounds of it, but it was just like you're as tall as a building. So the parts where you're outside,
Right.
it's just like the floor is like
Yeah.
a road and like
Oh,
a skyscraper that
man.
you're like taking cover
Yeah.
behind. You know what I mean? So I was like, that's kind of cool.
So the fortunate but unfortunate part from that is from the different ashes and a totally different Chinese, I think, company, we're getting Mecha Break soon.
Hell yeah.
I'm very
I
excited
saw
about
that.
that.
I
You
just
sent
sent
the-
you both a
Yeah.
link because there's another open beta coming, and you only got a couple more days to sign up. So
hold
Yeah.
sorry
on.
if you're listening to this episode, the next beta is already closed, I think. But
True.
that game, so that game is not. So this is one that kind of skirts that definition, maybe, right? I mean, it's a hero shooter. They're just mechs with different roles and different moves. It has all the
Oh, you
same
have powers
modes.
in that game?
Oh God, yes. It has like
Oh.
there's two mechs that can transform into a plane, like the the Wing Zero and the F-91 Gundam,
Yeah.
and they fly around and bomb. And so even though it's like robots, not characters with powers, it's the same
Right.
thing. The modes are the same kind of thing, either King of the Hill or push the payload or capture the flag, all that same kind of stuff. Main modes are, I think, 6v6 and 3v3 in that. But this, I mean, the beta I played in this was in like July or something of last year, and this game was already solid. It doesn't even come out until like May or June of this year. So
I can't wait to play
if they've
it.
taken
Yeah.
that much more time to like, I don't think they've had to work on the game itself. I think they've worked on more ways to play the game because they're not entirely sure which mode people are going to latch onto. They're not
Yeah.
sure if they're going to really like the 6v6. They're putting in PV. They're putting in a PvPvE mode where you're fighting
That'll be
against the other
fun.
mechs, but other stuff going on in between as well too. So there's one mech that turns into a turret, and if you're moving the payload, of course he can turn into the turret on the payload, and now he's the gunner of the payload basically.
I'm so horny for this game.
Yeah,
Just hearing
I'm
you
so
explain
excited
it.
for
I
this,
didn't
yeah.
realize that it had hero shooter aspects. I thought
Yeah.
it was more of just like a fuck 'em up, like
No,
those
every single- and
Gundam
there's-
games where you play as like two Gundams and you just fight each other.
No, and I think there's 9 different mechs in this game. So there's that means there's basically 8 or 9 different classes.
Oh,
So
man.
basically they categorize them into things like melee, gunner, healer, tank, support, whatever else. And so like there's a
Right.
light healer and a heavy healer, or a light support and a heavy support. So one's better at shields, one's better at healing. There's a light gunner and a heavy gunner. One is maybe like a sniper, and the other one is like a giant fucking cannon, like what's his name, or like Wing Zero when he shoots the
Fuck yeah.
So they categorize them that way, and they have a bunch of different roles they fit in. You only have to bring a support if you don't want to. They don't care, but you can't
Right.
double up on any of the mechs.
Oh, no two people can play as the same character?
Right. So you could play as both the supports, the light and the heavy, but you can't have 2 light supports.
Okay, then yeah, that's, I would say, is a hero shooter for sure. You got to pick roles and then play them.
Yeah. They're just robots.
Fuck yeah, they could be anything. They could be a mushroom or whatever in the case of Battleborn.
The reason why it feels so different though is because this game has extreme verticality. Like
Yeah,
it
and the
plays
speed.
like Armored Core.
Yeah,
It's
that's
got
why
a
I
lot of
didn't
excited
think it
about,
was a
yeah.
hero shooter, and I was
Yeah.
like, no, I think it's like, but the fact that it's both is like, sign me up right now.
So you get these maps. So you get these maps where you're out in the open in this area, and the environments are amazing in the game. And there's a couple points, and there's one where the point you have to capture constantly rotates like every minute or so.
Oh,
And
wow,
so there's
cool.
one over here, and then there's one over here behind a tower. This one's in like a wreckage, so it's easier to get to, and it's in the open, especially for the really mobile mechs. This one over here is behind a tower. The third one's inside that giant complex over there.
Ooh.
Cool.
So all the aerial mechs that have all the air superiority don't get jack shit when you have
Inside of
when you're
that
forced
one.
into close combat. So
Man, I'm so excited.
it's fun.
All right. Well, hey, listen, I think we have talked long enough for today's episode on hero shooters. That was good. I'm going to keep playing Marvel Rivals. I need to be drunk as hell to probably jump back into Stranova, and I cannot wait to play Mecha Break. All right. Let's go ahead and take a quick Mecha Break. And when we come back, we'll do our What Else You Got and conclude our episode. Be right back.
3, 2, 1. Capture the objective.
Gentlemen, we are at the end of our episode, and it's time for our What Else You Got? The segment of our show where we can bring to the table anything to share, be it video game or otherwise. It's like the show and tell of our show that happens at the end of every episode. Today, I have a couple things. One, we didn't do news, but CES 2025 happened, and NVIDIA released a bunch of information about their new line of graphics cards that are using like AI supercomputing to work. And they have a new RTX 50 series that apparently the lowest end model can give you 4090 level performance for $550.
Wow, that's pretty
Yeah, oh
affordable
yeah,
for
this
a
shit looks
PC
crazy.
graphics
No.
card.
No shit. For a 4090? Are you fucking kidding me? That's incredible. The highest tier 1 of this RTX 50 line, it's like it creates sentient little artists inside of your computers that handcraft images. Like they have little souls in there. Like it's
Yeah, right,
it's
yeah.
so many teraflops of
Yeah.
information that are getting produced by this thing that it's just like
Yeah.
you put a computer inside your computer.
Yeah.
Because we heard you like computers.
So side note, I've gone to a lot of seminars for work stuff for AI stuff in the last year and a half or
Mhm.
so, and throw Moore's law completely out the fucking window now that AI is a factor.
Right,
in
so
here,
much
right?
faster. That's
Right,
what my
yeah.
second note was. I'm super excited that in 5 years we are all going to have robot butlers. That's really exciting.
What are you talking about? Rocky had a robot butler back in like 1984.
Oh my god! Wow, I forgot about that horrible detail of that film.
Wait, Paulie, you suck.
Oh God.
Punch harder. But yeah, they were talking about doing chips for smart cars and for robots, and then they lined up all the robots, like all the companies that make humanoid robots, on stage, and there were
They made 'em
so many
fight?
more than I thought. I thought it would be like 2, and there was like 25 humanoid robots on stage. It was like,
Wow.
oh shit, what? Yeah, it turns out a bunch of people are making these. So yeah, in no time I'll be able to have someone bring the groceries in for me, and that'll be tight. Anyhow, let's get back to a solid game that I wanted to bring to the table.
Mm.
I have been looking for a RPG to play on my analog pocket.
Mm.
I got Zelda Link's Awakening, not RPG enough. Action
RPG,
adventure
yeah.
game, right?
Yeah,
You don't
yeah,
level that.
yeah.
Not
really
quite
any
hitting
RPG
my
elements.
my game spot, my G spot, if you will.
Right.
And instead, right? Thank you. So I got Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, not
yeah.
making me horny, not
my
doing
favorite.
it. You know what
not,
I mean?
Not
Just
as good
like,
as Tactics.
right? Yeah.
not working. And so I have had credit at my local game store for a while now. And I was up in that area of town anyways, doing something else. And so I went inside and picked up a gem. I picked up, for the Game Boy Advance, a copy of Lunar Legends.
Oh yeah,
Lunar Legends, if
Legends,
you will.
not Dragon
Lunar.
Song.
I see,
Yes.
Lunar.
So, Lunar Legend, I should say, not Legends. So this is just like a port of that Lunar Legend, but for the Game Boy Advance. The only difference is like the characters don't move across the screen when they're battling like they do in Lunar. They like more like Final Fantasy, like jump out, do an attack, and then come back. But
Oh, it's like a remake of the first Lunar game.
yes,
Okay, I've never
it's
played that Lunar Legend.
it looks great. I think this is gonna be the one, guys. I started it up
I
and
mean-
got to the menu screen, and yeah, I'll put some footage up here, and it
Hell yeah.
looks good. It looks like a Super Nintendo, if not maybe even a little bit better, like a primitive like disc-based game, Final Fantasy, but it's just a remake of Lunar. So I was just
Have any
like,
of the cutscenes and stuff from.
I should have looked at it. I haven't played it like at all, like I said,
gotta
and I
put
didn't
up
want to
here.
spoil it by looking at anything. But Game
they
Boy
just don't move around.
Advance coming in clutch. I think I have finally found my JRPG that I
mean,
can play. on
The
my
first
analog
Lunar
pocket.
game is spectacular. So
Yeah.
just with some quality of life updates, that's kind of some of the stuff I'm hoping when they do this Lunar remake. You know,
Yeah.
I would like it if they took some of these things into account when they did it.
So I got that analog pocket dock for Christmas, as I mentioned before. So now I'm gonna be playing Lunar on my. I got my HDMI switcher set up. I'm gonna be
Nice.
playing on the computer, playing on my handheld. Maybe I'll even stream some Lunar. Who knows?
Oh,
Oh,
hell
yeah, dude.
yes! Especially
be
that
cool.
one. That one doesn't get streamed very often. Just like
Exciting.
Yeah,
the original.
for the Game Boy Advance.
Oh,
So that is my what else you got for this week. Buck,
Yeah.
what else have you got for us this week?
I have just surpassed 40 hours in Metaphor Refantasio.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Have
Have you
alright.
changed your tune on whether or not it should be the RPG of the year?
It is an amazing game.
Uh-huh.
It gets rid of all the gatekeeping bullshit that Persona and all the Persona games really have, like with the high school and everything else there too.
Right.
Traditional medieval story, everything else. I'm really, really enjoying it. I will tell you the really one, and I'm waiting to get the end game to hope this changes a little bit. But I'll tell you the one thing, sorry, Persona fans, that it would keep me from not still giving it Game of the Year over Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and that is the fucking daytime time limitation stuff. Like, it's an RPG. I want to go at my pace, and I want to do everything between the things. Like, they already, in a good way, block off the next thing you can do through relationship building. Like, you have to get to level 4 in this one before you can go talk to that guy about that. Like, so you already blocked me on that, which is a good thing because it stops me from doing everything up front. Don't also tell me, and by the way, you got 8 days until the next thing happens. So there's like 15 days worth of stuff to do. So go ahead and pick what you want to do. Like, it's an RPG. I want to do everything.
That's so funny because if you listen to our games we just don't understand episode, that was basically my gripe about Dragon Quest VIII. Was just like, look, I want to get all the stuff. Yeah. Like, why are you making me pick and choose? Like, you want me to explore the world or
I'm
not?
Sure the
like,
end game will let me do that. And so I'm not
yeah.
complaining it like it's anything about a bad game because the game is phenomenal. And
because also that's just how those Atlas games, that's what they do.
What happens is I get this analysis paralysis of how can I do this more efficiently? And I still end up getting to do like 85% of the things that I wanted to do in that time frame. But then, like, I had a boss fight the other night, the first real hard boss fight.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, he does this certain ability, and it's like, I think one of these classes has an ability that counteracts that. Fuck, I only have one guy that's even close to that. I got to use up all these items I had in reserve to level up his archetype to get that ability just for that in particular. It's like, God, I'm glad I saved those, or this boss was going to be fucking impossible. So
can you combine? There's no capturing enemies in this game, is there? There's
no capturing
enemies, personas, and combining them and shit.
You have archetypes, which are your job classes, and when you level those up, every job class has a certain amount of skill inheritance traits, which means any skills you learn from other classes, you can steal them and put them in those few slots.
Okay.
So you don't have to capture any of the monsters to grab those abilities. You instead learn. So it's more of a job class system that's a little bit deeper than Infinite Wealth, what I really like. It has a player bonding system with the characters. There is one character, all the different characters that, whether they're in your party or not, you get a bond with them and they help you to get access to more jobs. Mm-hmm. And there was one character in particular, I didn't give two shits about the job that he was giving me. I was just so engrossed in the story that was happening with this side character. Like, they did such a good job at world building with those. But in that case, I would put it on par with Infinite Wealth as far as that kind of stuff, like the world building and the gameplay and such.
Nice. Oh, whenever it comes on sale, I think I gotta pick it up the next time it comes on sale.
Right. I think it's gonna it'll go on sale again though too.
I know I'm gonna like it. I mean, although I do like those. I mean, when you say like, oh, too much analysis paralysis, I hate it. I'm like, that's what I love about the fucking Persona games. It's just
then
like,
you would love this.
Do I go play baseball or do I eat a burger? And like,
well, at the end of the day, their time management sims is what they are.
Yeah,
like,
you would
really
love it though
are.
because it's not time management to a Persona degree. It's much
no.
less.
I mean, I'm saying I like that. I like the time management, but.
You still
this one sounds good too, just in a different way.
You still get it without it being so like gatekeepy. Like, oh, you did too much of that. Oh, this is gonna suck then. But
do you have to take quizzes in school because Persona 5 makes you do that? And
I know. I did it. I played a good.
I just finished. Well, you know what? I'll get to it when I get to my.
And
then we got I got MagFest coming up after this airs a week from that, so I'll have all kinds of fun recap stuff from that.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. Raph,
so pumped.
What have you got for us this week?
Boy, man, I got a lot. So the other day I made a trip out because I kept getting phone calls from my friendly local comic shop because they had a bunch of books that I had left sitting there for like 3
Terrible
months.
business model, by the way.
I mean,
the money up front.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, they called him like, "Hey, man, you better come pick these up."
No, they were much nicer about it. They were much nicer
know, but
about
it just
it. But
like,
yes, they did call me.
I would have just been like, "Oh, that sucks."
Yeah.
Like,
I kept forgetting on my
bought them
books
for
there.
me.
Every other industry does pre-orders except for comic book stores.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
right. Yeah. Well, I have a previews pull box set up with them and all that stuff. So I got my books. They fill a box for me. But I went over, got some of my comics, and while I was over there, I was exploring, and I was like, "Holy shit! You guys got a copy of this, and it's slightly used. It looks like it's in great condition, and it's like 50% off." But I picked up the first volume of the Berserk
Omnibus
Bible. Yeah, like this
holy
monster.
Bible bus.
but it looks gorgeous, man. I'm really excited to dive back into this because Berserk is probably the only manga that I've actually read like a good chunk of. I have like 13 to 15 volumes down here right next to me.
Nice.
Picked up that this week. Also the other day, we were all chatting over, the whatever Steam sale that was going on a while back, and I picked up a bunch of King of Fighters games, and I realized King of Fighters is really fun. Super
King
chill.
of Fighters whoops ass.
It's a pretty chill game. Like it's not so like there's not as much of a barrier to entry in terms of skill. Like it's very fun.
But
So
there's
I
a
ended up-
high skill ceiling in those
Right,
games.
there is. But I ended up picking up King of Fighters 15 on the PS4, and I've been having a lot of fun with this game because it was on sale for like $30 or something like that. Great game.
Yep.
Great game.
A team-based fighter where you do not have to waste your whole life figuring out how to chain all of your characters' moves together.
Right.
I'm
really
sorry,
don't-
I
and
hate
you
that.
can-
And Marvel vs. Capcom and the Dragon Ball Fighter Z, the having to be like this, and then to extend the combo, you got to switch to the character that's in your first slot, and then and then switch to the cat. And I'm just like,
right.
King of Fighters, just like one at a time, baby.
Yeah.
Like
Which
who
is
do you
funny.
want to go first?
'Cause
Who,
that's
like
why that's why Capcom vs SNK2 is so good because it's
Exactly.
just the King of Fighters formula.
yeah, because
That's
man,
one
the
that I gotta pick
drama.
up. Yeah.
The drama that unfolds when you are down to your last character, but he's your high ratio guy,
Yep,
and you
right.
fucking Benny Morrow slicks his hair up, and you're like, all right, bitch, you want a
Capcom
fucking
go.
piece? And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you fucking
go.
whale through two characters perfectly or something, and then it's just like, oh shit, it's
He's
the two
my
ratios.
anchor, baby.
Yeah, it's
I don't know. I really
love
like
that shit.
using Terry. Maybe it's the like because I've been playing him in Street Fighter, but yeah, Terry's cool.
Then wait
Um,
till you try Rock Howard.
Oh yeah, I gotta
Yeah.
like really dive into the. It's got a huge roster. That's the thing that I really
Yes.
like about it. A lot
Especially
of
if
really
you do
great
Dream
characters.
Match.
usually
What is it,
do.
2000 or
Yeah.
2002? The one that has the ginormous roster. Because
Yeah.
SNK has some weird thing where they stick to like, no, Geese is dead. Like,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
can't
They
play
like
as
the
him in this game.
lore of,
No,
them,
he's
of
dead.
their own games. Yeah,
Come on, man.
The other two things that I got here is that I have been putting some work into my New Year's resolutions. So I told you guys I'd been working on, ranking up a bunch of characters in Street Fighter to Master Rank. I got a couple in Iron Rank right now, which is the second lowest one, but I'm doing pretty good. My Cammy,
Cool.
I went from a 35% win rate to a 45% win rate in a couple of weeks, which is pretty good. But then I started playing Ryu, and my Ryu is now sitting at a 65% win rate. So I'm doing pretty good with Ryu. I'm
Nice.
trying to get him up there. Yeah. Having a lot of fucking fun playing Street Fighter 6, man. The
He's
other
a much
thing is
more like friendly character for I would say new players.
Ryu, yes, and he also got some recent buffs. Like a lot of the Shotos, he's kind of like the worst Shoto in that game, or kind of like a mid-range Shoto. Ken is like arguably the best Shoto. That's the one. Like whenever I run into a Ken player, I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. If I run into a Ken player, or I run into whenever I run into a Dalston player, I'm like, I have no fucking clue how to fight against you. Like you are just doing some crazy shit that I can't even know. I don't even know how to counter yet.
Always.
Yeah, but I'm getting there. That and Blanca's also like just so unpredictable. Like he's just
Top
flying
tier.
all over the place. Yeah. But yeah, I've also put a bunch of time into Persona 5 Royal. I jumped back into that game because I said I was going to try to finish it by the end of the year, and I've put like 20 something hours in since where I left off. I remembered exactly where I was. I think I was about 50 or 60 hours in or something like that. Now I'm sitting at like 70 or 80 hours. Beat the bank heist, which is like the third
mob boss
dungeon.
guy.
Yeah, the mob boss guy. And man, after that mob boss guy, this story actually gets a lot more interesting.
God damn it.
Yes,
That's where I stopped.
Yeah, I know.
Because I was just like, God damn, bro. Like they introduced the girl that's like the hermit, and I was like,
that's where I'm at right now.
And they're
yeah.
still introducing game mechanics, and I was just like, there's new stores opening up on the street, like and I'm just like,
How many
I've been
hours
playing
in?
this game for 70 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Stop
Yeah, that's why I don't like the
introducing
Persona
things.
stuff.
I have
Oh.
enough things.
They're
Like-
gonna keep introducing characters, man. I
So
just met the
funny.
girl that's like I've never heard of this game called shogi. I guess it's a Japanese thing. It's maybe like
Yeah,
Japanese
the
chess
card
or
game,
something
right?
like that. It looks like chess. The way that
Shogi,
they
the
were
girl
playing.
in the church, right?
Yes, yeah. I
Okay.
met this
That's
girl.
funny. You just found her. So I found her before.
Yeah, I
the
didn't
safe
find her
level.
until
That's
later
funny.
on. And now I'm trying to do the one where you have like almost a month to infiltrate the fight. It's the hermit girl. Alibaba, I believe, is what they called her online like persona or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I mean, there's like
It's
international
like the UFO
terrorists
that's not
that
actually
are
in your
showing
battle.
up. Yeah, it's crazy, but this game is getting real
Really?
good. I'm having a blast with it. But yeah, that's my what else you got. I've just been putting hours into some of these games.
Well, that's nice. I'm jealous. I will probably never beat Persona 5, unfortunately, as much as I loved it. I had put like 70 hours on my PlayStation when I had it, my PlayStation 4, and then it was like digital. I think I owned it digitally, and then I sold my PS4, and I was just like, that game's gone now. I'm not replaying those 70 hours. I'm sorry, that was too many.
It didn't even. It doesn't cloud save your saves.
Well, I
It
don't have
does,
I
I
don't even
think,
have a
yeah, yeah.
PlayStation account anymore. You know what I mean? I don't have anything for
yeah.
PlayStation.
So
So,
you mean getting it on another format?
right,
It's okay,
I
just
would
play
have to-
Metaphor. You'll like it more.
maybe
You
you
will.
know
You'll
that
like
might
it
be
more.
the
I think you'll
play.
dig it,
That was
yeah.
the biggest thing. Less the game by hour like 12, they've introduced you to like 90% of the game's mechanics, so they don't
Yeah?
stretch it out.
Really?
Yeah. So they don't stretch
Well,
it out.
fuck
They
me.
don't-
That's
don't-
that might be shit.
They don't stretch it
Um,
out like forever, like Persona does. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it's Persona, but better in every way.
Hell yeah. Well, sign me up. All right.
I gotta check it out.
That does it for our show. Listener or viewer, thank you so much for watching and or listening. Do us a huge favor, like and subscribe on whatever format you are watching this on. If you are just listening though, may I suggest that you head on over to our YouTube channel so you can catch our live streams Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. My Wednesdays one is on hiatus while Caitlin is in in the hellscape that is LA right now. Yeah, you can reach out to us via email at gametreasurepodcast@gmail.com with any games you might want us to play. We've had people send us codes like developers, any questions you may have, or I don't know, whatever. Maybe you want to send us some art or something. That would be cool. More importantly, you can head on over to our merch store. That is the-game-treasure-podcast.printify.me/products. Real easy to remember
No, just send them to our
URL.
link tree. It's on our link tree.
You can get all of our sweet merch. We've got shirts with the King of Video Games. We've got mugs with the King of Video Games. We've got a bread shirt. We've got a Choose Your Host logo that can go on the item of your choosing. It's pretty cool. I still haven't bought anything yet, but I'm definitely getting the King of Video Games JPEG shirt and the Choose Your Host mug. You can find links to all of that stuff and more at our linktree /TheGTP. We want to thank Crunkwitch for the use of our theme song, Clash of the Droids. You can find them on Apple Music, Spotify, anywhere you can find music on the internet. They rock. They're a super rocking duo, alternative, like electronic band that
for the
are
new
like
album.
just like two nice people from the Northeast that just like Buck just like knows them, and it's really cool. They make great music, and of course, we would like to thank RetroGameTreasure.com, owned and operated by the Mega Buck himself. Retro Game Treasure is a subscription box service that takes the hassle out of collecting retro video games. So the way it works is when you sign up and you become a customer, you fill out a profile page that you tell Retro Game Treasure what systems you have and what types of games that you like. And then at the end of every month, you get a box filled with retro video games that are in accordance with those parameters. So they will be for the consoles that you want, and they will be the types of games that you want to play. Also, Retro Game Treasure keeps track of your video game collection for you so that you never get repeat games in your boxes. And this goes without, they're not filled with sports games. In case you're worried about that, you only get the games you like, so you'll never get just like a box of FIFA. Also, you get to keep the games. Just to clarify on that, sometimes people are unsure if this is
Literally
a
the
rental
two
thing.
biggest questions we get.
Yeah, it's just like, no, you had to keep these. He helps you grow your collection without having to drive 45 minutes from where you live to go pick up one Game Boy game, which I did a couple of days ago.
Gas is expensive.
So
man.
instead,
True.
you should start collecting retro games the easy way today with RetroGameTreasure.com. My name is Max Stein, and I love the Game Treasure podcast. It is so bad.